Good morning. Uh, what we're doing today is we are going over our exam study guides. You should be able to print it off there in today's folder. Uh, the exam is going to be 50 questions, multiple choice. There are no short answer or anything. And all the questions you have seen before because they all come from the tests that you've taken over this semester, from chapter 1, the very first test, to the very last one, chapter 13. So, you should be familiar, and when you do take the exam, you will see that you have seen these questions before. They're just a good recap of everything that we have learned and gone over. The study guide is 53 questions. And so we're going to take a couple of pages each day and go over and make sure you got the correct answers. All right. If, well, being online, I don't see how I can do this, but this is for those that are come to class. They can sign it and turn it back in. Um, but let's look at our first question is, what is the difference between unicellular and multicellular? Of course, you all should know this. We talk about it in pretty much every chapter. Unicellular is organisms made of only one cell. Multicellular is made of two or more cells. Okay? And cell theory, all cells are the smallest unit of life. All living things are made of one or more cells, and all cells come from pre-existing cells. The basic units of life, which according to cell theory are cells, right? Um, and make sure you get the correct answers. You can look them up on your own, and then see if they match with mine or what I have here. But I want to make sure that you've got the correct answers so that you're not studying anything wrong or. Um, the naming system used to give organisms a two-word scientific name is binomial nomenclature. Asexual reproduction is when one parent creates an offspring that's identical to itself without meiosis or fertilization. And a disadvantage to asexual reproduction is there is no genetic or very little genetic variation. Okay. Of course, homeostasis, we talked about, I think it was in chapter 1, is an organism's ability to maintain steady internal conditions when outside conditions change. Okay? Uh, it's the way our body helps us stay alive. Think about it when we can't get too cold or too hot, right? Because our internal organs will shut down. So our body tries to help to maintain a steady internal temperature to keep all our organs and everything functioning. We get hungry. We need to eat. We need that energy to maintain that energy level. Things such as that. The four types of tissue found in animals and three major types of tissue in plants. Animal is muscular, connective, nervous, and epithelial. And plant is ground, dermal, and vascular. Um, and I suggest, I know I'm moving fast, but you can pause this and fill out what you need to fill out. The following lists the following from smallest to largest. Remember, cell, tissue, organ system. Okay, organ system is the largest. It's a group of organs working together. And an organ is a group of tissues working together. And a tissue is a group of cells that are working together. So cell, tissue, organ system. Okay. Dichotomous keys. You are not going to have to do a dichotomous key on the exam, but you do need to know the definition, what they are. There is a question in there that asks you what a dichotomous key is. Okay. It's a series of paired descriptions that help scientists identify unknown organisms. You need to know how to write the correct format for writing scientific names. You capitalize the first word, the second word is lowercase. Pieris rapae is the scientific name for white cabbage butterfly, but that's an example. Organelles that are in plant cells but not in animal cells are cell walls and chloroplasts, which make aid in photosynthesis. The function of the nucleus in the cell is kind of like the brain. Remember, the nucleus is the brain of the cell. It directs all the cell activity and contains all the genetic information. course, taxonomy is a study of classification. A species is a group of organisms that have similar traits and are able to produce fertile offspring. Lipids are large macromolecules that do not dissolve in water. Diffusion and osmosis. We talked about that, with the difference between diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion is a movement of substances from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. Okay, think about if you're in a very small room with like a bunch of people and you're really crowded together and someone opens a door, people are going to start to filter out into the larger room, to kind of and start spacing out. And that's kind of what diffusion is. All right, that goes from an area of higher concentration where there are a whole lot of people or a whole lot of whatever it is, substance, molecules or whatever, to an area where there's not that many. Osmosis is a diffusion of water molecules only through a membrane. So it's basically diffusion, but only with water. Okay. The difference between active and passive transport in cells. Of course, passive transport is when the movement of substances in and out of a cell through the cell membrane without using the cell's energy at all. The cell's just sitting there watching it happen. It's not doing anything. Okay, and that's passive. Active transport is a movement of substances in and out of the cell through the cell membrane using the cell's energy. The cell is actually doing something. It is using its energy to move these substances in and out of it. Okay. All right, and that's all that we're doing today. We did the first 2 pages. Tomorrow we'll do the other 2 pages, and then Friday we'll finish it up. So if you've got any questions or anything, just email me, and I'll try to answer them. Try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. Bye.